Brum brum, good morning, it's 10 to 8, time to talk cars now. Autodata Middle East says that in Q1 of 2017 a 30% drop in new car sales was experienced across this region. Bahrain suffered the heaviest loss, 41%, followed by the KSA, 38%, and the UAE at 20%. And I'm pleased now to welcome to the studio the driver of that report and fellow pink shirt wearer, Ian Beattie, General Manager at Autodata Middle East. Morning to you.
Good morning, Malcolm.
Thanks. Yeah, fetching pink. I like that. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want you to feel left out with your 25 pink shirts that you ordered at midnight.
Exactly. So, a miserable first quarter. Did the second quarter in the region improve?
No, we're in a very similar position. Second half of the quarter, we haven't got the full numbers in yet. People get a bit tired during the summer months to report full numbers, but again, a blend of about 30%.
Is it because they're away, or is it because they don't want to?
I think
the numbers are so bad.
No, I think. Nobody has a problem with sharing the numbers, in all fairness, because if it's specific to one particular brand, then there can be a holding back some numbers. But no, everyone's in the same boat at the end of the day. So we've got to sort of suck it up. We're about 30% down across the region. UAE is about 30% down.
So it's about 30% for the entire first half, in other words.
Yeah.
What I mean, it would be tempting to say, well, people are unsecure about their jobs, unable to get finance, a whole bunch of things. What's the reason, as you said?
Well, first and foremost, we have to go back to the drastic drop in oil prices back in 2014, and that has it takes a long time for the knock-on effect to come and wash through into the automotive market. So any ancillary, obviously, there were a lot of redundancies around the region. Ancillary companies that work with oil and gas obviously cut head, so that has an impact. There's not as many people here. People are leaving, but not as many coming back. So the market shrunk. I had an interesting conversation yesterday with one distributor that at last he said that the manufacturer is now looking at market share. I've been saying that for 2 years. Don't chase volume that's not there, but try and increase your market share. Have a strategy built in that you can identify where you want to take some market share from the biggest competitors.
So don't worry about your real numbers, your actual numbers. Even if your numbers are down, it's the market share that's
absolutely
important.
Of course it is. The size of the pie is the size of the pie. You can't, you can't. The market's the market. You can't influence more people in the marketplace. But what you can do, you can influence your market share, and that's what should be happening. And I think that is starting to happen now. So that's a positive.
You talk of this being the new normal. Weaker car sales. So let's talk numbers in terms of aggregate car sales for the UAE. What was the old normal, say 2013, 2014, in terms of aggregate car sales? And it's several 100,000 a year. And what's the new normal that the industry will have to get used to, do you think, Ian?
Well, our forecast is about 230,000 for the UAE.
And that's the new normal. Whereas 2014 we did
roughly about 300,000.
I mean, that is a big difference for any industry, isn't it? Because this industry has ramped up based on 300,000 and probably expecting more growth, opening all these massive new showrooms that we see on Sheikh Zayed Road. I mean, they're expensive to build, they're expensive to service, so they've ramped up with teams of salespeople and service people to cope with a world with 350,000 cars a year, and they're living in a world with 230,000 cars a year. So the distributors surely have got to be adapting to this. How are they doing it? Are they downsizing? What?
No, they're not downsizing. You can't downsize a glass palace on Sheikh Zayed Road. That's impossible. And it's not good for the distributor to have tumbleweed rolling through the showroom. So you've got to keep your activity up. The one thing that distributors need to focus on is customer retention. Not selling the customer just one car in a 5 or 6 year period, but potentially selling them two. And this is where I keep going back to the need for a good certified pre-owned program driven by a distributor. That is where a mature market makes their money. They don't make any money out of new cars. If you look at the UK and Europe, there is no money in new cars. They make money in customer retention, short cycle, changing a new car more often, used cars, service and parts and warranty. That's where you get your money.
It's a hard sell, though. We were talking earlier in the Business Breakfast studio. I mean, my car's 9 years old, Richard's is 7, Hanan's is 7. We've probably got enough if we thought about it to afford another car, but we don't need to.
Well, actually, you're kind of not the norm.
We're abnormal. Business breakfast, abnormal business breakfast.
When we look at certainly the length of time that somebody keeps a car has become longer, and I think again that's down to the manufacturers putting 5-year warranties, 5-year service plans, encouraging the customer to change to keep the car longer. Now, the strategy of the manufacturers is if we put a 5-year warranty on it and a 5-year service plan, that also gives it a stronger residual value, because when the car comes back into stock in 2 years' time, if we sell the customer another new one, that gives the customer confidence when they're going to buy the car as used. So there is a method in the madness.
There is some logic in that, but at the same time, I bought my car in 2009, at the height of the downturn here, and I got such a good deal. The prices went up immediately. The whole sort of economy recovered a year or two later.
Yeah.
That I just wouldn't be able to afford to get back into the same brand now. So the deal I got was so good, it's pointless changing.
Well, if we look at new car deals on, I mean, let's take Ramadan for example. I've seen Ramadan offers that I've never seen anywhere in the world. You know, the most powerful offer I saw was buy now, pay next Ramadan. I've never seen anything like it in a million years.
I've been here for a year. That's a pretty good deal.
I never thought I'd ever see anything like that. You know, year on year, you know, the new car sales are down. Now, if you look up and down Sheikh Zayed Road now, there are no consumer offers on. If you take a good hard look, because they've been done. You know, so it's going to be a very, very lean time over the next couple of months. I think as well, with a very, very strong offer, you've got the chance is you're going to cannibalise another couple of months of your sort of August and September sales, because you'll pull them forward because the offer's so strong.
But I don't understand by that logic really, and how do you expect to sort of increase the turnover time if you're giving such good deals now? Unless you do that in the future, you're not going to encourage people to buy on a shorter cycle.
Well, this is where certified pre-owned comes in. You've got to build demand for your product pre-owned, and I'm talking about nearly new pre-owned now, probably from 0 to 3. And if you do that, residual values become stronger, and it will stimulate new car growth.
We're running short of time. What about leasing, where you never really own a car? You have to go and get a big bank loan. You just turn up to XYZ car brand and you pay them, you know, a few thousand dirhams a month, and every 2 years they put a new car on your drive that's slightly better than one you had, and that's fine. You just pay a monthly instalment, job done. We haven't really seen that here, have we?
I know, and it should be there. I mean, personally, I'm a massive fan of personal leasing. I never own a car. I would never ever put my own hard-earned cash into a depreciating asset, because that's what it is.
You never own a car?
No, never.
So what do you do? You
lease. I lease all the time, because at the end of the day, I pay for what I use. So for less than 2,000 dirhams a month, I have a fully serviced car, fully insured, and a brand new car every 2 years. So that works for me, because at the end of the day, I only pay for what I use. So it doesn't make sense. If anyone, and let's put if someone wants to buy a car and they want to pay cash, they should really be putting that cash into some kind of a fund where it's going to make them money. If you went to the bank and said, I'm going to give you 100,000 dirhams today, in 3 years' time I'm going to come back and you can give me 50, you'd report them to the police. And that's what you're talking about. It's a depreciating asset. It'll always depreciate. You can't get away from that. My recommendation is lease. I honestly think that short-term personal leasing is going to increase over the next 12 to 18 months, because the distributors are thinking, hang on a minute, we can actually supply more new cars and also supply our certified pre-owned programs with very, very good quality nearly new cars. What we're finding is that some 0 to 18 months old cars in the market, their residual values are starting to improve and increase.
Just very lastly, I want to ask you very, very quickly, VAT coming in the beginning of next year. On the surface, you'd think it was going to be bad for car sales in the UAE.
No, I don't think it is. I think the consumer offers will flip to will pay VAT. I honestly think that distributors are, they're squeezing margins already. Now, what will happen, there'll be a higher demand for nearly new pre-owned, because the VAT element is going to be calculated vastly differently. On new cars, it will be on the showroom price. On a used car, it will be calculated on the margin. So you'll be able to pick up a 6 to 12 month old nearly new vehicle for 20% less and pay much less VAT.
Well, thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning. Ian Beattie, General Manager, Autodata Middle East, and filling us in on the Q1 and 2 car data from